Hey everyone, this is Patrick from Small Room Productions. I hope you guys are having a great day. Today I have a video tutorial on using presets. Now I know this can be a very touchy subject. Some people are either, you should never use presets, and then some people are like, well, I beg to differ. And I actually stand a little bit on the side. Well, let me first start by saying I kind of started out, using presets. They didn't work for me, and then I decided you should never use presets. And then I kind of grew a new perspective. I started thinking a little bit differently, and I got this idea, this new thought about it from Graham at the Recording Revolution. If you guys are not familiar with him, great guy, great free tutorial videos on mixing. Definitely check him out. But let's go ahead and talk about this. Presets. Probably like most of you guys, when you started started your journey into mixing, recording, you probably were able to get your hand on some really cool plugins or even just the stock plugins, and you didn't really know what these tools exactly did. So what did you do? Naturally, you used the presets on the plugins, and you either found out that they didn't really work, especially if you just relied on them. If you just relied on the preset to do everything for you, you were just kind of like, well, that preset sucks, but that's because you weren't thinking in this different way. After a while, of course, using after presets and not getting the results that I want, I had my education that I had through college with this, and learning how these tools work, compressors, EQs, reverbs, all of these things. And with that said, I just never really used presets till about, I don't know, maybe 4 months ago. And the reason why I went back to it is this. For an example, this song. This song is by a band called To End All. The name of the song is called Dead Memories. I'll go ahead and play it for you guys. If you guys like it, check out the band. I'll leave a link in the description below. And about this band, they also kind of fall under the genre of hard rock. They're not really hard rock. They're more so progressive metalcore. But just as a general, like under the umbrella of rock, you could use this kind of compression style. You have post-hardcore, you have metalcore, you have metal, you have doom metal, death metal, metal, heavy, 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 chugga, 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 so on and so forth. They all kind of sit in the general same aspect. They sit close next to each other. So with that said, what I decided to do when I first got these vocals, you can see on my Pro Tools session that I have one track called Singing and one track called Screaming, both which I'm using the CLA 76, and that's what we're going to focus on today as far as the preset aspect is the CLA 76. When I started to compress these vocals, I started like, okay, compression, let me start with about 3 dBo gain reduction, see if that works, so on and so forth. Am I getting what I want out of it? And truly, I didn't get what I want out of it. I had them being compressed, but in the mix, they just didn't sound that special. They didn't sound great. Remember, this is metal. This is supposed to have balls. It's supposed to be big. There's supposed to be, drums playing as loud as they can and guitars trying to play as loud as the drums, and you're supposed to have a singer trying to sing through it all higher and loud enough to be heard, and same thing with the screamer as well. It's supposed to just be badass, and these vocals, the way they were being compressed, weren't being badass. The material was there, the way it was recorded was there, but what I needed to do was think of a way how I can get these to stand out. So since I needed to change my perspective, I decided, you know what, maybe I should look at a preset. So with the CLA 76, I decided to go ahead and go look at a preset. I went here, started looking and seeing what was more relevant to me. Of course, I passed the snares, the rooms, the drum stuff, all that. It doesn't matter to me. What I want to look at is vocal compression, because that's the instrument that I'm working on here. And there's a few different ones that kind of speak to me. There's the vocal, there's Rock My Vocal, not working with the female, but though that could probably work, but we're not looking at that. Male vocal, in your face vocal. So there's probably 3 of them that kind of look appealing to me. So I decided to start out with this one, the Rock My Vocal. Let's see what that does. So, few parameters have changed. I've noticed my input, excuse me, before I say this, before I changed the to the preset, I will say that the parameters that were just before this were the parameters that I did end up using, okay? So let me just note that the previous settings that you saw before the preset weren't the ones that weren't working for me. Those are the final ones that I went with because I liked the way how it went. So, but with that said, this is now something different. We are here with the preset engaged. We have the attack up the middle and the input. So let's just hear what this sounds like. We're going to start right here with, well, this is on the screams, so let's listen to the screams. Alright, so let's just start there. First thing, what is it that we're hearing? Because again, that's the most important thing. Pretend this screen was black, you couldn't see anything, you were just listening to these vocals. How is it sounding? Sounding pretty good, especially a lot better from where I was starting from. Before, like, I was still having too much of dynamics, and that's what I realized what the problem was, is the vocals had too many dynamics. Now, I kind of also, you know, as my education grew, especially at the beginning of my education, you know, I was kind of scared of using compression in some ways because, you know, people said, you know, that track doesn't have compression, so on and so forth. It doesn't have any life because the dynamics are sucked out of it. But then you gotta also remember what suits for the song. I've always been very conservative on how much compression I want to use on something, in which it kind of lacked the life a little bit. Sometimes you need compression. Sometimes you need your signal to be kind of ducked down a little bit. So with this Rock My Vocals, it is certainly doing that, and it is leading me to, it probably did about 80% of the work that needed to be done as far as the compression stage went. So now going on to the rest of how I perceive this. Like I said, the parameters in the final result were different. Now when I have this preset on, I feel that it drives the compressor a little much, and also that a compressor, if you look here on this 1176, if you go towards 7, it's actually going to be a quicker attack, and if you go to 1, it's going to be a slower attack. It's vice versa than most compressors, as you would think. Now, what I want to do is actually pull it back to about kind of close to 3. And the reason why is because I feel like it's compressing a little too early, also making it a little bit hard to understand what he's saying. Now, those who don't really listen to metal probably like, well, Pat, I didn't understand what the hell he was saying to begin with. That's irrelevant. Talking about if you were to listen to this music, again, you got to think with your metal hat on or whatever music hat that you're listening to. So in this situation, I dialed back the attack to hear a little bit more of the articulation, and I did pull back, well, not that much, okay. I believe it was somewhere around here. So let's try this and see how this sounds. Alright, so there we go. That was, if you can see, first of all, I'm satisfied with this. Will there be some final tweaks in the end result of it? Maybe. Depends what happens in the end result of the mix when I get there. But so far, it looks like this is a pretty solid kind of state of where the, you know, of where these vocals need to be for the screaming. It sounds good. I'm probably going to keep it this way. A few adjustments? Maybe. But you understand the concept, and because of using this preset, it got me 80%. It got 80% of the work that needed to be done. It got me to where I wanted to be. Now, again, you want to use what works for your music. If you're doing jazz, I don't suggest you use Rock My Vocal preset unless it's more aggressive. You know, you want to use what you want to taste. You know what? I could have put this preset on and maybe the attack and input was fine, but the ratio was too much. It was just too much compression in general. So I would have maybe changed it from the all setting to a lesser ratio to 20 or 12, so on and so forth. So that's just something also to keep in mind. But in this video, we're using it for this. Now, let's go ahead and look at the singing. I also, during this part, used the 1176 and also started with the same preset. And if you can see, my parameters are a little different. Again, with the input and attack on it. Still with the all, but listen to what I got. so you guys can hear that. Again, with vocals, you want to make sure, A, that you can understand what he's saying, and also you want to make sure the dynamics work for the song. You don't want to compress the living hell out of it if you don't need to, but also you might want to compress the living hell out of it if it makes it, sound good. Again, for rock and stuff like that, this works because you want the vocals to sound like it's fighting through something. Again, rock is supposed to, okay, I'm sorry, I watched School of Rock the other day, so it's to stick it to the man. And with this, you're fighting against something. It's supposed to have that emotion of grr and in your face and breaking through. And you are literally having the vocals having to fight something. You're having them fight the compressor, and you can hear the emotion now. It's in there. So, with that said, preset in this scenario, good. Should you put on a preset and just leave it be? More than likely not, because probably only 1 out of 1,000 times would it actually work. But like I said, I mean, at least would it work without you having to adjust it? Again, you're probably going to have to adjust it. So, preset, add it to your mixing methods or to your mixing process. If you feel like what you're doing isn't working, it's a totally different perspective. You see what it is that they're trying to do, they're trying to convey, and you get the idea and you see if it works. If not, try another one until you find something that does work, and then you go from there. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I got more videos coming on the way. Again, sorry for the late how long it's been since this videos came out. I know that it's been a couple weeks between this video and the last video, so sorry about that, but there will be more on the way. Have a great day. Keep making awesome music. Peace.